Well, hello everybody. It's me, Ian Reed. We're gonna do some Barracuda After Dark. Gonna have some people check in from the tank. Otherwise, you get to listen to me ramble on about absolutely whatever. Um, so let me just mute this over here. So sorry about the late start here. I had to find some insulin. Barracuda win 4-0. Take a 1-0 series lead in their best of 5 series with the Stockton Heat. I thought they played great game. I mean, you can't really, there wasn't really anything that to gripe about in this game, which is nice considering the game we watched last night that we won't ever mention ever again. Um, but no, I thought it was a really good game. I thought Barracuda, really textbook game for them. Everyone you expected to do stuff did stuff. Tim Heed unassisted goal in the first period, and then and there he is, the man of the hour, Mr. Pucka.
Hi, and sorry, I was starting to AOL as I was about to exit the arena, and
That's okay.
unfortunately, much to my chagrin, I did not get a selfie with Kaylee, which usually guarantees a Barracuda win, but apparently we didn't need that tonight.
Nice. So what was your thoughts on the game? What was the atmosphere like?
Oh, the atmosphere was awesome. I mean, I don't think I've seen the arena that full before for a Barracuda game. It was a really nice crowd out. I mean, not everything was full, but I mean, it was a pretty good sized crowd on hand, and they got their orange Kudo unfinished towels going, and it was really nice to get it going, and they got it going just like on Tuesday night for the Sharks. They got it going early, kept the crowd into it, and really carried the way most of the night. And Grosnick, oh, dude, I hate to see that guy go. And I think he's going to be going soon, but man, what a night.
Yeah. Troy Grosnick's been great, but it's going to be, I think the Sharks are going to be hard pressed to keep him because with jobs opening up, someone might take a flyer on him for a thing. Over 6,000 people, just Lady Dragonborn saying over 6,000 people. I mean, the attendance is good. I mean, the attendance is never going to look great in that building because that building is just too big for the Barracuda.
Right.
Period. Like it's never, you're not going to expect 17,000 people to show up for a Barracuda game. Obviously, they do tarp off parts of the arena for that purpose. But I mean, it's always, it's unfortunate that they play in the SAP Center for that respect, because I think when you do draw a good crowd, it still seems like sparse seating. But I mean, from what I saw on the stream, I mean, it was the best numbers that I've seen all year, easily.
Oh yeah, easily, probably the most attended I've seen in quite some time. And they were into it. They were really into it, and kudos to the game night staff as a airplane comes in right now.
Nice.
Do it live, folks.
We do it live. It's true.
But 1 down, 14 to go for the CUDA, and I guess you could say Stockton feeling the heat tonight.
Yeah. Stockton, you know what? I didn't think they looked bad, but I just, when me and Zach and Kevin and Hockey Jerk did our last show, where we kind of did the series breakdown. I mean, everything other than, I think, goaltending, we were pretty unanimous that the Barracuda had the edge in every category. And the only reason that we were split on the goaltending was just because of because basically there's no drop off. You take Gillies out, you put Rittich in, and it's basically the same level of goaltending. Whereas if you take Grosnick out, then things get really dicey really quick. Especially, I mean, Saunders was backing him up tonight, which kind of surprised me.
Same here. Yeah, Mantis was found in the upper bowl watching the game, and I was surprised that Saunders was the one that came out to be the backup tonight.
Did all the ladies in the building gravitate to the upper bowl?
Unfortunately, it was cordoned off for everyone, so
What? Sorry, go ahead.
No, unfortunately. No, I will say this: there was a lot of wooing going on, and I thought, well, that's so nice of them to just salute Worcester.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
They would go woo, and I would go stir.
Nice.
So.
Any players stand out to you tonight?
Obviously, Carpy had a nice game, 2 goals. I thought he'd had some great chances. O'Regan had some nice chances as well on the on some chances. Didn't cash in, but I thought defensively, Joachim Ryan looked pretty solid. Noah Rhodes didn't look too bad. Overall, a nice team performance, which you need, especially now if you're going to make a chance at the cup.
Right.
So, yeah, they looked really good. They had the Pacific Division and Western Conference regular season trophies on hand for you to take a picture
Well, at least it's a
of.
look at trophies are better than banners. Trophies you get from the league, banners you put up yourself.
Right. So I can't wait for next season for probably those bright orange CUDA banners.
I don't mind. It's AHL. I don't mind. Like, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about AHL. Did anything think? Yeah, no. What did you? Because I know you've only taken in a couple of CUDA games this year. Is there any players overall that stood out to you, like every time that you went, that really that you liked? Maybe anyone under the radar a little bit.
Obviously, Troy.
Yeah.
He's played a really spectacular both games. You know, the game where this bad boy was unveiled. I mean,
right.
He had a shutout. Tonight he had a shutout. All I'm saying is, Troy, you know me from the Chris Creamer Sports Logo boards. At me on Twitter. I'll be the good luck charm the rest of the way if you need to. You know, just give me a percentage of your contracts down the road, and and I'll make sure you get a guaranteed shutout.
All right, man. Well, thanks for checking in. I'll let you not get mugged in wherever you are.
Oh, Have a good one.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for checking in, Puck Guy.
Yep, of course.
All right, so let's get to the chat here quick. Hey, I Teal Steel, man. Teal Steel. Yeah, look I completely agree with Vince here. Mantis Armalis was a great, there was really no risk in it. You signed him for 1 year, you gave him a shot to do something, and then, if it turned out, it's great. And if it didn't turn out, off you go, right? I think that, I look at Mantis Armalis. I mean, we said it on the other show too. He had some really good games. It wasn't like he was terrible with this, awful losing record. But by the end of the year, when things really seemed to pick up, Mantis just couldn't carry the water, man. Like he every time he'd start, it was just deflating, just litting up with deflating, just silly bad goals. And I don't think Saunders is much better, but again, couple low risk things here. Look, he wasn't great, but he had his ups and downs, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying he was amazing all year, but I don't think to say he was terrible all year wouldn't be fair either. There was a couple of games where he came in and absolutely, stole the show and settled everyone down. And then there was games where he came in and he just got lit up like a Christmas tree. You want more consistency at the pro level. Even at the AHL level, you want more consistency for sure. Let's see here. What else we got in the chat? Just, it's me, so you got to bear with me here. I will try and talk and be interesting, but it's, you know how it is. Zach is going to join us from the tank. He's just got to do his stuff. So I really have to just kind of tap dance around until Zach can come on and give us his take on the game. Growth. Look at was there any growth? I think he adjusted really. He was really rough to start. He had trouble with the North American game a little bit. I think as time went on, he got better, but there was just things that I think the book kind of got out on him by the end of the season. And guys, look at the scouting is still a thing, even in the AHL. Guys are watching tape. And I think that with Mantis, we had some really bad flaws, and they got picked apart by the end of the season when everyone kind of knew the book on him. What what else do you have in the chat here? Yeah, I agree, Lady Dragonborn. Bumblebee hasn't impressed. Look, he's not terrible, but he has some real interesting. He has some really interesting rebound issues. No, D Simone was in. And he was great tonight. I thought D Simone was really nice. Chartier, yeah, I don't think he's next year with the Sharks, but Rourke Chartier, I mean, this is a guy that I think he's going to be a little bit slower coming along, plus just combination of slower coming along and opportunity, obviously. But yeah, Rourke Chartier definitely, I think, has a bright future with in the organization. Period. I think that maybe not the sky's the limit, but he could climb a power pole or two. Yeah, I mean Chartier, I can't say enough good things about Chartier. He's been just consistent. It seems to not matter where they put him in the lineup and who they put around him. The line just always seems to excel with him on it. He's been a guy that they put just guys around just to kickstart guys and stuff like that. And it wasn't like he started the year off with, I think we started the year off with like Gold Open and the bank, and then he moved around to just like different things, right? And it wasn't always glorious spots. There was times where he was playing with like Yevpalovs and another guy, but I think I think that Chartier's got a bright future, and I cannot say enough good things. LeBanc, LeBanc was interesting. Kevin LeBanc, I think he was okay. He wasn't really, I wouldn't say he was a major factor. I mean, the goal he scored was an empty netter. But he, man, when he has those moments of brilliance, there was a shot, I want to say in the third period, where he just out of like, I didn't expect him to shoot it. And, next thing you know, it's like super dangerous shot goes towards the net. And I didn't see it coming. And that's the one thing I like about LeBanc is just that sometimes he just gets off those sneaky shots that you don't expect to happen. But Vince G kind of summed it up in the chat really well. Kevin LeBanc had a nice, quiet, responsible game. Rob asking, is he bored in the AHL? I don't think he's bored. Look, I would be. I mean, look, I don't play hockey at any professional level, but I have to imagine I would be more excited at the prospect of playing in the in the AHL than sitting in the press box in the NHL. I think any guy wants to play. And I think, and not being in the game for any period of time, it's going to take him a little bit to get the rust off. Yeah, he's practicing, but practice, you can only do so much practice before you actually get into the game. And, Kevin LeBanc was great. I don't think anyone should have any issue with Kevin LeBanc's game tonight. It's good. I'm glad he's playing. Honestly, I was really disappointed that he was just kind of wasting away in the press boxes, like you always seem to have like two forwards in there. You have Mike Haley, you have Peter DeBoer's Doghouse, and Kevin LeBanc. And so I'm glad that Kevin LeBanc has been sent back down. Kevin LeBanc, I believe, is a 6th. I don't think he's a 7th. He's like a 6th. Yeah, he just, he's not always going to put them in, but he does. Kevin LeBanc does great things with the puck. And all in all, I mean, he was really, really good. I thought other standout guys to me, Nick DeSimone, I thought looked really good tonight. He made some really sharp plays. He's a guy that I'm really impressed with. He's really, DeSimone's a guy who just kind of, he's a late signing. He had to come and learn the system quickly and, looked a little lost at first, but he's been really, really good for the short amount of time he's been playing in the system. Other names being mentioned in the chat. Yeah, Tim Heed. Look at Tim Heed's Tim Heed. Like he is the guy that stirs the drink for the offense, right? There's, between him and O'Regan, that's where all the offense goes through, is those two. So, I mean, Tim Heed, you can't say enough good things about Tim Heed. Buddy Robinson's another guy that I like. Obviously, he's another guy that I just can't stop singing the praises of, and I thought he looked good. He had some good shots. And DeSimone, I want to say, came from Union College. I think Union. I want to see Union. I heard. I always get this stuff kind of mixed up on the spot, though. Yeah, he's a college kid. Sorry, I'm not used to talking nonstop like this. I usually have I usually have Zach to let me catch my breath. Yeah. What do we got here? Yeah, NCAA. Yeah, it's both the NCAA. I didn't really notice Noah Road all that much tonight, which I guess isn't a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. I mean, he didn't do anything egregious that I thought was terrible, but I didn't really notice him. I didn't really notice him either. Hey, yes, new Boston American hero, Sean Corrali. Sean Corrali was the guy. He was kind of just a guy thrown in with the Martin Jones trade, and yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Sean Crowley was a guy, but you know what? He's a guy that would have been just buried. We were talking about this on Twitter. He's a guy that would have just been buried in San Jose. He wouldn't be getting this opportunity that he has now with the I don't know what the hell I was saying. With the guys in the system, obviously, he was Sean Crowley was a guy who would probably be sitting in the AHL right now if he was still here. And he's a nice player. I always kind of pegged him as a bottom six NHLer for sure. So I mean, good on the kid for making good of his opportunities. Do I think that Lady Dragonborn asking, so do I think that the NCAA kids have a harder time adapting to the AHL over CHL kids doing schedule? I think schedule wise, yes, but college, in college, you're generally already playing with adults for a lot of the time. Like you have more older kids, whereas in junior, you're playing against kids that, 16 to 20, 20's the cap. So, so, what was this? Okay. Sorry, guys. So I think that went back to the AHL thing. I think that the college kids have a leg up when they come to the AHL because they're already used to playing against bigger guys. They're used to playing against adults. Maybe the competition isn't as high, so there obviously is, a level you have to take that step up. But I think it's going to be something that, it's an easier transition because you're already used to that, playing against physical adults. I think that's the one thing in Christine, I'll send you the link in a second. I feel that when you come up, like when in junior, I mean, you do get some kids that are 20 and they're, 19, 20 that are freakishly big. And, you get like a Lawson Krause, for example, right? Who just really lifts his draft stock by just being bigger than everyone else and pushing everyone else around. In college, in the AHL, it's harder to do that. So I feel like from that perspective, it's a lot more difficult to come up in the AHL. It's easier to come up to the AHL than a kid from junior coming up who's not used to playing against kids so hard. Zach says Manuel Reeder is in San Jose working on contract negotiations, which is nice. Do I think the CUDA make any changes Sunday? No, I don't see why you need to. You just had a super awesome game. You shut out the team like, I don't know, it's not broken, don't fix it, right? Like that is the golden rule. Sorry guys, I'm just sending Christine the link here. All right, I sent Christine the link, so we'll get joined by Christine soon. Yeah, after a 4-0 win, it's clearly time to blow it up. You just tear it down. 4-0 win, game 1. Tear it down. Yeah, no, that's true. Look at Oh, she can't drive and talk. Well, what am I doing sending her a link then? Um, after the Sharks won, yes, they did sit Donskoy. Donskoy though, Donskoy's had a tough go. Between him and no, because okay, so let me finish on Donskoy first. Donskoy is a guy who who I really like, but he hasn't really been that visible. And Bodker's generally responded to being benched, so bringing him out, it doesn't surprise me they made that switch. Seattle Kelowna's that should be a good series for sure. Manuel Rieder, he was drafted over age. I think that's the one thing with Rieder you have to remember is that even though he was just drafted, he was drafted over age. Chris is reminding me that I need to read the comments that I'm responding to, which is probably sound advice. Fair. So anyway, Matthew Hengy is asking in the chat about Manuel Rieder. If do you think? Yeah, look, he's old enough that he could make the jump. I think, and I mean, at some point he's going to end up on the Barracuda anyway. So it doesn't, it makes sense to get him. It makes sense to get him in, especially look next year. Some people are going to come, there's going to be spots next year. We don't know how many spots. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm trying to be, I don't want to be super negative and I don't want to get super onto the NHL, although, we will get to the NHL eventually. We don't know what's going to happen to this team after after this, playoff round. If there's another playoff round after, then maybe, maybe things are different. But if they bow out in this round, we don't know who's coming back and who's not coming back. And that could lead to a lot of opportunities for some of these Barracuda guys to come up. We've talked about, Danny O'Regan. I think Danny O'Regan's a Shark next year. If you don't bring back any of the guys, that are on the big, the big questions, we were talking Joe Thornton's, the Patrick Marleaus. I mean, obviously, if both of those guys are gone, then this is a whole new team. And I think that everyone who is going to get a chance, to really fill those spots, depending on what else they do in the offseason. So a Timo Meier, it could be an every game player next year. Kevin Labanc could be an everyday player next year. Danny O'Regan could be an everyday player next year. We don't know. As far as what happens if the Sharks stuck out this round. And I'm not saying that they will. I'm not, I certainly don't hope. I always joke around that, wouldn't it be great on Sunday if Timo Meier and if Timo Meier was back in the lineup and with Marcus Sorensen, yeah, of course it'd be great. But I mean, obviously, if that happens, then things have gone horribly wrong. So it's not great at the same time. Sorry, the chat's just making me laugh tonight. I will give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how to. There he is.
Hello, hello.
Well, hello there, sir. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Sorry for the late join. I just got in my car and it was a zoo down there after the game.
I believe it.
Man, everybody's family's in town for the playoffs, I'll tell you that.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
So tell us, good sir, what can you tell us about this wonderful game? Also, well, for those that don't know, we're being joined by Zach Devine.
I didn't. You used the term wonderful, and I thought it was solid. I know a 4-0 score, you'd usually get the feeling like a team was dominant and exemplary, and I actually felt like, and I was actually arguing with the Stockton reporter that was seated next to me, and it was one of those situations where I felt like John Gillies, the first 2 goals, one, Tim Heed whistled it right by his ear hole.
Mhm.
Nothing almost any goalie can do
No.
in today's NHL. Most goalies go down into the butterfly, and that's that. And then the 2-on-1 with Carpenter and Robinson, he what can you do? The defenseman didn't stop the pass.
Right.
Overall, I thought the Barracuda, though, they really leaned heavily on Grosnick. He had 4 really phenomenal saves in this game that I counted.
Mhm.
Saves that stopped me and made me say, "Wow!" And that's going to be dangerous in the playoffs. This isn't the San Antonio Rampage. This isn't, insert non-playoff team here. The Stockton Heat are dangerous, and Grosnick, if he was, just a solid starting AHL goalie, this game would have had a very different score.
Yeah. Yeah, Grosnick definitely had to make some saves. I thought though, I thought that the Sharks did a good job of not getting baited into a lot of the silliness though that Stockton generally tries to get them into, and usually to great success.
Yeah, and I spoke to Buddy Robinson after the game and kind of asked him point blank, as kind of one of the bigger bodies out there that's known to play a heavy power forward game, if there's a little bit more on his shoulders after this with this matchup. And
Right.
he said certainly. And I thought Robinson played probably his best game as a Barracuda. He stayed within his lane. They were heavy, hard hits, but they were legal hits. But everyone really talked about, dealing with their physicality, but responding with speed and skill and discipline. So I think that's going to be the key moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that, I'd like to see, I'd like to see, obviously don't want to see them get into silly penalty trouble or anything like that, because I think that's the key. Like, I think if Stockton is going to really, push the Barracuda, it'll be to try and get them off their game, get them chasing people around and stuff like that. If the Barracuda can stick to just playing hockey, then I don't know what Stockton can do.
I actually thought Stockton played a darn good game, and Coach Sommer said the same thing, that without Grosnick, this score in this game could have a very different result. I thought that they played within, much more within the bounds than we're used to seeing out of the Stockton Heat.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's face it, they were top 3 in penalty minutes in the AHL.
I want to say yes, but I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I thought they were second. We talked about that in the preview, but it's been a heck of a day. Anyway, for them to kind of stay heavy and not get into those silly penalties, like you said, there were a number of infractions on both sides. I thought the Barracuda penalty kill was good. I thought the power play was for the Barracuda. I thought it was average. Their puck movement was an area that Ryan Carpenter really stressed that has to improve moving forward, and I can't say that I disagree with him. That's just something that we're used to, the Barracuda really whipping it around, using Tim Heed and Joachim Ryan to expose lanes, and it was just kind of rather vanilla, I thought, on the man advantage.
How about
Ian?
Yeah, the man advantage didn't. It wasn't as good as it has been. I wonder if part of that is you insert a guy like LeBanc back into the lineup, which obviously changes everything, right? Like, you're gonna obviously put him in good opportunities, and I kind of wondered if that was part of it, where you insert LeBanc back into the lineup after he's been out for a while, so it kind of jumbles up the lines a little bit.
Yeah, and they certainly did jumble the lines. They moved Robinson up with Carpenter and McCarthy, and I thought that was a good move. It was a little strange at first, but once the game really started going, those are 3 veteran players that have just really strong work ethics and a ton of skill, when you put them together, as well as the experience to kind of show the way. So I thought that was, I'm not sure if that's going to stay, because I felt without Robinson, Chartier and Haluka weren't as effective. He's a big part of that line.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting if this was just kind of a one of, to make sure Summer helped show the way, as it were, for the Barracuda in the playoffs. I think the other thing that's worth mentioning is that the Barracuda went with 6 defenders in the first round of the playoffs, which was, to be honest, a surprise for me. I thought Kelly would have drawn into that lineup to kind of combat some of that physicality.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's the thing that really, I think it's the one takeaway from the game for me was it was really the veteran guys that I thought led. Tim Heed, not a veteran to the Barracuda, but still a veteran player. I mean, he's in his mid-20s. He's played a lot of high intensity games over in Europe, so it's not like this is anything new to him.
He's seen some things.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He's seen some things. And then you had, and then you had Ryan Carpenter, getting the 2 goals, and those are, so it was nice to see that the veterans were kind of had the lead today. And I thought that was something that stood out to me, was the play of the veterans. It wasn't like, not that the kids played bad, but it wasn't the kid show.
Right. And you were speaking of Tim Heed. I thought he and Ryan, once again, were excellent. I thought Mueller and Bergman, this was one of their better games that I've seen out of them. Mm-hmm. There were still some mistakes, but I liked Mueller's shot on the power play. As somebody pointed out on Twitter that Mueller shocked the world and shot on the power play, and it resulted in the goal. Just everyone didn't know what to do.
Right.
And that was Carpenter's second goal. I think that was the guys over at Circling the Cup. Was that?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So kudos for a funny tweet there. And also the DeSimone and Middleton pairing, I think, is really exactly what the Barracuda are going to have to utilize to kind of play their game in the postseason, which is skating and skill. And Middleton and DeSimone, they're a lefty-righty combo. They've got a complementary skill set. I think that just really blends in well with what the Barracuda are trying to accomplish, both defensively and offensively, with that north-south transition game.
Yeah, no, I it's funny because, like, remember when we talked before the season started, and I was super jacked for this Barracuda season, but those questions was, well, in goal, and like, who's gonna play D? And it's amazing because the thing that's amazing to me is we're in the playoffs and there's 3 solid pairs. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, they're solid. Like, you have Heed and Joachim Ryan up top. You have Bergman and Mueller, who, in my opinion, they've both taken strides. Maybe not big enough strides, but they've taken strides. And then you have Middleton and DeSimone, who DeSimone, you consider, coming over from Union, and how quickly, I was saying this earlier when I was just kind of rambling by myself, how he's, how quickly he's acclimated to the system, and he stands out, like, when DeSimone's on the ice.
Yeah, I asked Sommer after the game about kind of what were his thoughts on that pairing, and he just pointed to DeSimone's recent play, said he was a +6 player, thought he was very strong against Tucson, and liked his game in Stockton, and so he kind of played his way into the lineup. The other thing to remember is Patrick McNally and Dan Kelly were a pretty solid bottom pairing for the Barracuda for really the first half of the season, until we saw Jacob Middleton emerge. So really, the Barracuda just have this plethora of defenders that are ready for their AHL Calder Cup run.
Yeah, they're really, they're set. Like, and that's the other thing too, when you look at that, because you mentioned Dan Kelly, you mentioned, Patrick McNally. If there's, if heaven forbid they suffer an injury on the blue line, they're fine. It's not even that scary at all.
Right. And I think Sommer has shown this season he's not afraid to tinker with the lineup and do what needs to be done for the specific game. And for Sharks fans that are listening, I know that's a constant terror that the same lineup and the same deployment and the same everything will roll out.
Mm-hmm.
And Royce Sommer does not suffer from that. He's had no problem going with 7 defensemen. He's had no problem juggling his backups. He'll move guys up and down the lineup. Sometimes, hold on, I got to back up here.
Yeah, no worries.
I was blocking my driveway. I didn't even notice it. Looks like Mrs. the Bear is home. But he'll move guys around just to get other guys going. And so whatever this team needs to to kickstart, they've got a lot of pieces laying around that are ready for action, depending on what the need is. And I actually ran into Joachim Blichfeld, who's down from Portland. He just got into town. The Sharks are running through all the youngsters, the prospects, and I actually last week I wasn't able to make it to practice, except for once, and I must have missed him. Rudolph Balkers was actually in San Jose.
Ooh.
It was told to me. So they're running all the guys through. Manuel Werderer's coming in. I hear around the campfire that he's actually already in discussions with the Sharks. So that could be a signing. Even Parker Gahagan, he's still on the radar. He's still a player of interest. There's just some behind the scenes things going on that are clouding that path forward. And so that might explain a bit of why Clark Saunders was brought in so quickly right around that. So maybe something was bubbling there, maybe not. I'm speculating. Take it with 14 grains of salt, around the rim of your favorite Sharkarita. Preferably Rocket Backhander's famous recipe. But there's a lot of bodies down there for the Barracuda. And if a couple of these guys get signed this spring, we could see a couple more. And certainly this fall.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of even younger blood, if you can believe that, laying around.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad that we're finally seeing some movement on that front, because it was such a weird spring for me so far, right? Like, you have these guys getting knocked out, these guys that are aging out of junior, and there's just like nothing. So I'm glad to hear that they're actually in San Jose now, and at least doing something.
Right. And the Sharks, and again I'm speculating a little bit here.
Sure.
But they do their year exits, and most NHL teams do, but you do see some junior players that'll go if they've signed with the team, they'll go rehab with the team. John Gillies last year is a good example. For his hip surgery, he went up north. So that's something that is it sounds strange for folks that might say, well, gosh, he's a prospect, what's he doing here? But
right.
it is kind of par for the course, and it's good to hear that that so many of the Sharks prospects are filtering through.
That's good. Yeah, and I think that probably helps explain why Kevin Labanc kind of got the go ahead to come back to the Barracuda too, because you didn't need that extra body for practice and whatnot. You could let some of these junior kids get laps with the team, and then actually let Labanc play some actual hockey.
Right.
How'd you feel about Labanc's game tonight?
I mean, he's a known quantity at this point. I think AHL coaches would be foolish to not game plan around, his abilities, or at least seriously brief their team on what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's getting a lot more attention than he was earlier in the season. Some of the cuteness that we've talked about on previous, shows together, I didn't see that. I thought this was a really honest effort from Labanc tonight.
Yeah.
I thought that he was playing well in all 3 zones. His board battles looked more like what we saw at the NHL, which is excellent. I actually thought that was a much improved area of his game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was an important step forward game for LeBanc, but they're going to need to get him and O'Regan going. It just can't be, the veteran guys stepping up and Tim Heed bombs from the point.
Right.
That might get you through the first round. That's not going to get you past San Diego.
No.
Yeah. But what is interesting though is on the San Diego front, Shea Theodore and Brendan Montour are both playing like huge minutes for the Anaheim Ducks.
For the Ducks.
And they're playing not so bad last I checked. Completely destroying my bracket among most of the Western Conference. But anyway.
They didn't destroy my bracket. Chicago destroyed my bracket.
Chicago destroyed the world's brackets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It just everything went kaput. There is no winner this year.
Nope.
But they're playing some really solid hockey for the Ducks, who have blue line issues of their own. So maybe the goals don't get back Montour and Theodore, and two NHL caliber defenders who, due to waiver eligibility rules, can magically appear on an AHL roster. That's you're not going to find those laying on a street corner down there in Old Town San Diego.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, so I mean it should be interesting to see. I still think even without those two players, I still think they should make quick work of the Reign.
Ian, what did you think overall? What were your thoughts on the game? Sorry, I missed him.
Oh, that's you know what? I thought it was I was pretty happy with it. I mean, I definitely agree with some of the things you said, but I still thought it was still a pretty textbook Barracuda game. They I think that yes, they did let Grosnick face maybe a few too many grade A opportunities. I don't know what Jankowski was thinking. I think me and Vince G decided that he was just he got hypnotized by Twine and didn't know what to do.
And that was it was interesting you mentioned that. I thought that kind of the hubbub, if you will, on Jankowski has been that he's dominant and then invisible. And I must have watched him live 10 or 12 times this season alone. I saw 3 games of him, including his AHL debut last year. I've never come away with that opinion of him. Tonight was the first time I actually saw it, and I'm like, okay, I have seen it. But, he's 22 in his rookie year of the AHL.
Yeah.
Kind of in his first playoff game, for the big, for his professional club. I'm willing, just like with LeBanc, Jankowski's gonna have to be better for the Heat to have any chance.
Yep.
That there's no bones about that. Same with LeBanc. They're Jankowski's 2 years older, but the point remains that these are young players that are counted on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Jankowski, okay, hopefully he got his butterflies out, got the bad game out. Hope for the Heat to have any chance, he's going to have to be a drastically different player for them. Morgan Klimchuk as well. He was real quiet for very long stretches in this contest.
I just got an update from Vince G, since I just said that the Gulls are going to make quick work of the Reign anyway. The Reign won 3-2 tonight to take a 1-0 lead in the series.
See, and I thought San Diego would sweep. I really did.
Yeah, so did I. I didn't know if it was going to be a sweep, but I thought it was going to be quick. It was going to be quick and painless. I guess it's not really. A sweep's pretty quick and painless in a best of 5, though. There's really everything's quick unless it goes to 5, and even that feels quick to me.
So the takeaway for all of our listeners and viewers: whatever Zach and Ian tell you is their brackets, bet the opposite and profit.
And profit, yeah, absolutely. Don't look at my bracket. My bracket's very bad. It's pretty much in shambles at this point.
You can't read mine. My tears have blurred all the ink.
Oh, Yeah, it's bad. Just bet against us, and you'll win monies, and everyone will be happy, except for us.
So what
Yeah,
was
we'll be
one
happy.
thing? Oh no, we will totally mention you on Teal Tinted Glasses Reborn about moving on with all of your riches and fame.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
What was one thing that you thought the Barracuda need to address before going into Game 2 on Sunday?
I think they just need to find some better. I think, like you said, that the Chartier line was a little more invisible than it. I like Brooke Chartier, and I think he's a great player, and I will sing his praises all night long. But I think that line needs to find a little more cohesion without Buddy Robinson.
Because they skated Jeff Polovs up there quite a bit.
I know, but it wasn't. To me, it was kind of a non-factor line though.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that sentiment. It really seemed like, the veteran line with Carpenter, McCarthy, and Robinson, and there really wasn't much else going on, was there?
No, not really. Like I mean, I'm not saying like the Chartier line was bad. I thought Chartier played great. I just think that we've seen that line be dominant. Like that line's kind of been like the secret weapon. You throw that line out there, you're like, oh man, we just stopped O'Regan, we stopped Carpenter, and then you throw that line out there and it goes and demos people, and we just didn't see that tonight.
I think that's a really astute observation that's worth pointing out again. It's, when you can roll out Danny O'Regan, flanked by Kevin LeBanc and usually Barclay Goodrow of late.
Right.
Follow that up with Ryan Carpenter, John McCarthy, and then whatever winger. Those two are good enough at the AHL level to bring anybody up to par.
Right.
And then your third pairing gets the Chartier line with Haluka and Robinson.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's exactly. I mean, it's so, and so I think because of that, I think that line's been able to do a ton of damage. And and I look at it, it's one game. It's a I mean, look at these guys are all, even the rookies. I mean, it's not like these guys have never played playoffs before, right? Like, I mean, I know that the AHL playoffs are still a step up, and there's still, there's that extra level that you need to find to do it. But it's not like, it's not like Kevin LeBanc's never played a playoff game before. Yeah, it's still junior, but it's still, junior hockey's playoffs are great.
Right.
Danny O'Regan, won the Frozen Four. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like all these guys have never, even the guys that are rookies, I mean, they've still seen playoffs, maybe not at this level, but, I think now that they've played it and they've got that game under them, I think that, I'm hoping that we'll see bigger things, because I still think there's going to be nerves involved, but I think once you get going, I mean, it's hockey, right?
Right, and nobody is playing professional hockey for the participation ribbon.
Right.
These are guys that have played at championships, from, even if you're playing college hockey, your division, right? If you're playing NCHC, hockey, your conference has a championship. Then maybe you go to, a big regional tournament with some heated rivals for like the Beanpot tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some guys at Jack Eichel pointed to like wanting to win a Beanpot tournament.
Yep.
That was part of his reasoning for his one and done year at Boston University. Then you go to like a Frozen Four. The OHL playoffs are huge. The WHL playoffs are brutal.
Yes.
I mean,
unless
that's
Seattle, apparently.
Yeah. I think Chartier is actually one of the better prepared youngsters. If you've played WHL playoff hockey, you've got a pretty good idea what AHL playoff hockey will be. It'll be a bit faster and quite a bit bigger, but you've got an idea of the ferocity. But then there's the Q.
Yeah, and then there's the Q. But even still, I mean, Timo Meier still played the Memorial Cup. That's no cakewalk. 4 rounds of hockey and then the Memorial Cup. Like, that's brutal.
And I'm being flippant, but
I know.
Exactly. Every level of hockey, you're going to go through a pretty similar kind of playoff tournament style effort. Even the WJC, right? It's round robin, and then they go to knockout. So by the time you're done, you played 6-7 games.
Right.
Inside of 2 weeks. That's pretty much a playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys have been at many levels really groomed for this, and this is just the next step of the evolution. And I think that is an important thing to point out for fans.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because, again, Rourke Chartier too is another guy went right to the last game of the Memorial Cup and lost to Oshawa. So Sharks prospects not having good times in Memorial Cup finals. Sorry, guys.
That is a theme, isn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't seem like I don't remember anyone actually. I feel like we've had guys make it to the very end, but never touch the trophy.
And so, sad. Ian, in the U.S., the Memorial Cup is nearly unknown unless you cover prospects or junior hockey. Tell everyone a little bit about the Memorial Cup.
Okay, so the Memorial Cup is a tournament that happens at the end of the Canadian Hockey League season. So you have a host team who basically gets just to go because they're the host. And this sometimes is good and sometimes this is very bad. And then the champions from every league in the CHL, so you're talking the champions of the WHL, the OHL, and the QMJHL, will all go and play. They'll have a round-robin tournament, and then it's single elimination right to the final. It's probably, in my opinion, it might be one of the hardest trophies in the entire game of hockey to win, because you have to not only get through 4 grueling rounds in your own playoffs, unless you manage to be the host. You have to get through all that playoff to get to the final round, to get just to play in this silly tournament. So it's very difficult to do, especially when you consider junior hockey. Teams, some teams are good at maintaining compatibility, but your window is very, very small. Very, very small.
And then, Ian, how important is the Memorial Cup up there in Canada?
Oh man, it's everything. I mean, I will watch Memorial Cup games with volume while Stanley Cup playoff games are muted on my other monitor. That's, for me, it's the biggest. It's my, other than the World Juniors, I think if I had to go tiers of what I love for hockey, Memorial Cup, World Juniors, Stanley Cup playoffs. That's me. I mean, maybe not final, Stanley Cup finals probably still top, but man, I do love me some Memorial Cup hockey.
So I'm gonna put Ian into a moral conundrum right here.
Okay.
Would you rather watch the Memorial Cup or the San Jose Barracuda in the Calder Cup?
That's tough. I might want, the Barracuda, man, I have followed the crap. Barracuda, the Barracuda I'd probably watch because I have followed the crap out of this team this year, and there's just so many guys on this team that I like. It might be the game with volume. I mean, I'll definitely keep track, but it'll probably be the game with volume. It depends on who's playing. Depends on who makes it in the CHL. The Memorial Cup this year, I don't really have much of a rooting interest this year for the first time in a while, because there's no, all our prospects are done.
Well, Windsor's the host. They're a solid squad.
Oh, they are. They're good. I mean, and Seattle, I'm curious to see if Seattle can keep this going right through, because they've been crazy. And then I think that, it's good. I mean, it's always good because the teams that are going to be there, Windsor, despite being bounced early, is a really good team. They just got bad matchup. And now, Erie's dangerous as ever. Is this the year they're finally going to punch their ticket to the Memorial Cup after so closes? It'll be interesting to see for sure.
See, folks, we just encapsulate all of the playoff hockey that you've probably not heard a whole lot of.
Man.
And then I mentioned, speaking of CHL playoffs, the Huskies were bounced from the Q playoffs just a couple days ago. And I think I mentioned this earlier. Manny Werder is either in San Jose or like right now on his way.
Correct.
So he'll be joining the Black. Pretty much, I guess we call them the San Jose Black Aces at this point because the Barracuda and the Sharks are here, and I guess you just kind of jump into practice.
Yeah.
So wherever they need some bodies.
Who is left in the queue? Chicoutimi and because it was Chicoutimi that bounced Drew Noranda, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and then I believe it was, I want to say Charlottetown was playing. I don't know who won the other series. It was Charlottetown and someone else.
I don't follow the queue nearly as much as I should.
No, and like I said, because once like with our prospects all getting bounced, I haven't really paid much attention to the CHL playoffs as much this year.
Yeah.
Here, give me a second. I'm going to find this out right now.
While Ian's finding that out, one other little note that I heard percolating about is that Noah Gregor was pretty banged up.
Oh no, that's no good. So
kind of his so-so playoff performance, that could be a part of it, but got it up and got out there for Moose Jaw. So that's just another bit I heard. I haven't heard if there was in fact an injury or if it was just so many bumps and bruises from being playing so many minutes in a really solid two-way capacity for Moose Jaw. But again, just a steal of a fourth rounder.
Okay, so just so everyone's on the same page now, the Charlottetown Islanders are playing the Blainville-Puisbois Armada, and the that's the Sea Dogs. That's the Sea Dogs, right? I don't know. Yeah, the Sea Dogs. Sea Dogs are playing. Who are they playing? They're playing Chicoutimi. So there you have it.
So that's the team headlined by Nicholas Waugh, the big centerman for Team Canada and Carolina Hurricanes prospect.
Mm-hmm.
So solid matchup there.
They also have that other kid too. Is that Sea Dogs or who is that? I don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore.
So any final thoughts on what's your prediction for Game 2 for the Barracuda on Sunday, Ian?
Barracuda keep rolling.
Barracuda keep rolling.
Keep rolling. Yeah, I think that I you know what? Something that we've said about this team over and over and over again is not that, and they didn't even have a bad game, but they make quick corrections.
Right.
And I feel like, yeah, Grosnick probably faced a few too many shots tonight, but he's going to be, they're going to figure it out. And it's going to be great.
I'm picking the Heat to bounce back here, and I'm going to explain why.
All right, let's hear it.
So they started John Gillies, who for the first two goals, you really can't, in my opinion, can't fault him.
No.
The third goal, I'll hear that argument, and then the empty netter. Right. But at the end of the day, it's a 4-0 score. For the Heat, they have David Rittich to turn back to, who statistically, and for a lot of their fan base, was the better goalie this year.
Yep. No, that's fair.
So the Barracuda had a pretty tough game and had to get some pretty good shots to take the lead on John Gillies. I think David Rittich could be a level up from there. And the Barracuda, defense, I thought they bent and didn't break, but they didn't break because they were backstopped by Grosnick. And there's still a lot of talent on this Stockton team. Stockton was a team nobody wanted to play in the first round.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for Stockton. I still think the Barracuda pull off this series. I picked the Barracuda in 5, so I think Stockton is going to regroup here with probably David Rittich in net, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that could be a thing. I like I said, I just like the way that the Barracuda have fix things quickly, and I think that they're going to fix a lot of their problems going into next game. And hopefully, now that you've got that first playoff game jitters out, you're going to see the kids start to stake their claim to some playoff glory as well.
So one of us will be able to tease the other one on Sunday.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, absolutely. Just remember, guys, the game on Sunday is at 3 p.m. Hopefully, the Barracuda do not have reinforcements in the lineup. But on that topic, no matter what happens tomorrow night, obviously here on Teal Town, I almost did it. I almost had to put a quarter in the jar.
You saved it.
I did. Tomorrow on Teal Town USA, obviously we will have Teal Town After Dark after the Sharks game tomorrow. We're gonna do a show. Might push it a little later because it's Sunday and it's an early game. Just so we can just both be in studio at the same time. Hopefully, Zach, is that cool? Or I'm just kind of making something to go.
I'm doing my best. I got done with interviews, and as soon as I got my Wi-Fi signal back, I tried to dial in. So.
We'll let you actually get home on Sunday. How's that sound?
Your kindness knows no bounds, my friend.
You know what? We're at an hour. We should probably get out of here. Do you any NHL stuff you want to talk about quick before we bail?
I am so I'm watching the San Jose series. I have time for little else. I'm so deep in prospects and
sure.
The Barracuda playoff run. There's a couple other series going on and things are happening in them. And
what about Bilesma and Tim Murray out in Buffalo?
Oh gosh, that's a whole show. You know, one way or another, Jack Eichel is that franchise. You know, that's the way it goes. It's a lot easier to fire the coach. I think Buffalo's done a fine job drafting. I thought moving the general manager, some of their contracts, have been poor. And the flip side of it is, you've had players that have strong-armed their way out.
Mm-hmm.
Would they be better with Ryan O'Reilly if they had kept him happy? Sure. But hey, it's a business.
Yeah. I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised by Bilesma.
No.
I thought for sure Bilesma was, Bilesma is a guy who's getting a reputation as a guy who can't coexist with star players. And I think that's going to be interesting for him trying to find a next job. But Tim Murray, I mean, I'm not sure how long even Tim Murray's been there, but I feel like it wasn't enough time to really say, okay, this clearly isn't working. Jack Eichel missing 21 games doesn't help a team make the playoffs.
Right. And
so I don't know.
And they've got pieces, but they're young pieces.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Ristolainen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Darnell Nurse went right ahead of him, if I remember correctly, in
mm-hmm.
the draft. And I just, for me, I looked at that and I said, are you joking? Me and one of the editors at the Hockey Prophets that I write for, we go back and forth on that to this day.
Right.
That selection, and I guess lucky for the Sharks this year that it wasn't Ristolainen. I'm still concerned on Darnell Nurse. I think he's a fine NHLer, but I think Ristolainen is. I mean, he's going to be a minute muncher for a decade.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. And I mean, I kind of wrote just briefly about this, where I was kind of like, I don't know, if you take the Jack Eichel thing at face value, then obviously Jack Eichel's the guy you keep. You can't trade. You will never get value for a Jack Eichel.
But why would you trade a number one center? Look what Columbus did. They traded a number one center for, a top pair defender, and now they're right back in the market for a number one center, and they pick Pierre-Luc Dubois, who played exactly 1 month as a center. You know,
No, exactly. Like it's like I know some people were put off though because it's like if you took the story at face value, it's like okay, this 20-year-old's basically telling you how to run your franchise. But I mean, ask Peter Shirelli how value works out in these deals because he made two of them for two of the top two picks in one draft. He traded Tyler Seguin and got nothing in return. Like not nothing, but it was clearly lopsided and terrible. And then Adam Larson's helped their defense, but man, still Taylor Hall.
yeah, but I mean, he's a number 2. Oscar Klefbom's the better defender.
He is. No, and that's exactly it. I mean, that's still that's my point. Though is like,
and he was already there.
You don't get value. Yeah, you can't get value when you trade a guy like that.
Right.
And Jack Eichel is better than I think Jack Eichel, is going to be better than Tyler Seguin, and he's going to be better than Taylor Hall.
Certainly better than Taylor Hall, better than Taylor Seguin.
I think when it's all said and done, not right now, but I think when it's all said and done, Jack Eichel could be better.
I'll give you the could be. Okay, I'll acquiesce on that point. Real quick, because I know we're running long, but this is a hot take that I don't mean to be a hot take.
That's fine.
I really respect Jack Eichel coming out and kind of laying it on the line here, and saying this to the press, and I'm going to say why. The culture in Buffalo has been so poor, and so, just losing and kind of wandering the hockey wilderness. To have your franchise player say, you know what, we need to win. We need to change the attitude. We need to change the approach.
Right.
I want to win here. And if I'm not going to win here, I'll win somewhere else. That's the kind of lay it on the line-ness. I just made that word up.
That's fine.
But, we'll add it to the Zactionary.
Okay.
And move on. But that's what you need, because you're
John
not going to
take note.
Yeah, it's not just, hey, it's nice to be here. It's nice to have a big contract. Eichel, we talked about this earlier. He went to Boston and said, yeah, I'm here to win a Beanpot and win a national championship. Yep. And he came within one really fluky goal of doing both.
Yeah.
So if that's the kind of attitude and will to win, that your franchise star, I don't know if Eichel will be a generational talent, but he's certainly an elite talent.
I think he has potential to be a generational talent.
Yeah, potential.
He's not McDavid, but he's damn good.
Right. So you've got, unequivocally your elite franchise 20-year-old center saying, damn it, we're going to win.
Yeah.
That has to count for something, from a leadership standpoint. It doesn't seem like it today, but if they're able to come out of this, and Eichel's, hopefully still there, and part of that turnaround, I think this could be kind of the beginning of Jack Eichel's lore, if he's able to restore Buffalo to hockey relevance.
Yeah, no, I agree. M. Hackle, just one last question in the chat here, and then I'm going to get us out of here. Matthews better than Eichel, or other way around? I think Eichel's better than Matthews.
I'm going to take Eichel by a hair just because I like his defensive game a bit better. I might like Matthews' offensive upside. I think I underestimated last year Austin Matthews' upside.
Yeah, I think a lot of us did. I think, with Matthews, I think that the thing that happened with Matthews, in my opinion, is there was I feel like the real backlash against Matthews is because guys like us that watched a lot of prospects got just sick and tired of generational being thrown out like it's, oh, really, this guy's a generational talent. This guy's a generational talent. And I think that we're just like, no, enough. Not everyone can be a generational talent. And I feel like Austin Matthews kind of got, kind of got hit by that a little bit, where we were just kind of just where we were just like, no, sorry, Austin Matthews is not generational because you can't have 3 generational talents get drafted within like the last 3 years. Sorry, no, we're done.
Yeah, and I think that's a really insightful sentiment, and I echo it. But I think Matthews is already elite, and as that rookie, boy, that's such a good question. Dang nabbit. I'm going to go Eichel by a hair, just because I think his defensive game was and is a little bit more polished.
Right.
Comparing age to age. But I obviously Matthews still has a couple years to grow.
Oh, and that's not a slight. Like if I say Eichel's better than Austin Matthews that's not a slight on Austin Matthews at all. Austin Matthews scored 40 goals this year.
Right. And like I had Line as my number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would probably flip flop today if I had to redraft, but I had Line by a hair,
right?
And I think that same hair is just flipped to the other side. I think Line, we really haven't seen another generational goal scoring talent, like pure sniper, for a while. I think he could be that. So it'll be interesting, but getting at the very least in a true number one elite, maybe double elite centerman, that's got to be just the absolute key for Shanaplan.
Oh yeah, and that's the way I kind of looked at it too. Like when you looked at the draft board and then you looked at where the teams fell, like to me, Austin Matthews was the pick there because they didn't have that center. They had to take him. They had to. Even if Line was the better player, Toronto couldn't take Patrick Line at that pick.
Right. And
so I don't know.
And there's different ways of and certainly mock drafts and things like that, and team needs. The way I construct my prospect ranking, and you can go check out my prospect ranking right now at hockeyprofits.com. It's also pinned on my Twitter page at Zach the Bear. I generally go by just what I think is raw offensive upside, because you need goals to score in the NHL. You're going to pick guys in the first, second round that are going to end up being second and third liners. If you always swing for the fences, you're going to have that top line talent that you need to succeed.
Definitely. All right. With that, we should probably get out of here because I don't want this to be another hour, 40-minute show. I know there's a lot of content on the audio stream right now that obviously I want people to enjoy, and I don't want people to be like, I can't deal with all this hour and 40-minute shows every other day. So thanks for coming on, Zach, after the game. Obviously next time, like I said, Sunday, we're gonna let everyone kind of get home and settle in. My concern mostly with the game ending the time it will, it's going to be at the same time as bedtime and stuff, so for the children, obviously, not for me. So we'll go a little bit later than after the game stops, give everyone a chance to get home and enjoy in the comfort of their own home, possibly, depending on traffic. I understand it's California.
All right.
So thanks for coming on, Zach. Thanks everyone for coming on and watching. It's awesome to have 21 people watching a show that's basically I know we did a little NHL at the end, but it's been basically a Barracuda for an hour, and having 21 people watch just Barracuda for an hour and me yammering on my own for 20 minutes is you're all saints in my book. Have a good night, guys.